Okay, let's do another one. Let's take a look what we have here. Okay, so, all right. Okay, so the graph whose equation is in parentheses x minus 4 squared plus y minus 2 squared equals 4 is a circle. All right, they're telling you, I mean, you might have actually recognized that right away, but they tell you it's a circle. If m represents the number of times the circle intersects the y-axis, and if n represents the number of times the circle intersects the x-axis, what is the value of m plus n, right? So one thing that probably a good idea to memorize the equation of a circle, and they give you some, on the SAT, they give you some formulas, right? They give you some geometry formulas and some other things, I think some trigonometry, but I did not see the circle formula in there. So just something that it's a good idea to memorize it. Just, in math, you come up with the equations of circles. They just come up sometimes. So here's the equation, right? So it's x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, right? And the piece of information that you have to remember from that is that the h and the k, right? The h and the k, so that basically represents the center of the circle, right? So hk is the center, right? So hk and actually being that we have we have a minus and a minus, it'll fit very nicely. So the center of this circle would wind up being 4, 2, right? Now, if it was plus, you would have to think of it as minus minus, right? But anyway, we don't have to worry about that in this problem, right? So hk is going to be the center, right? And the other part that we need to know is is r, which is the radius, right? So r equals the radius, right? So for this problem, our center is actually 4, 2, right? So the center is 4, 2. Center is going to be 4, 2, right? And the radius, well, it's this 4 is equal to r squared. So 4 equals r squared. So r, the square root of 4, is going to be equal to r. So r is equal to 2. R equals 2, right? So we want to just basically try to draw a graph of this to get an idea. We can see from trying to draw like a kind of graph, kind of like a sketch of a graph of this. We could try to see these intersection points on the y-axis and the x-axis, right? So let's try to draw a graph here to try to get this. Okay, so here's a graph, right? So, okay, so we need, I would say, start with the center, right? The center is 4, 2, right? So that you got to count on x 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then you got to count on the y 2. So 1, 2, and the center is right here, right? That's the center of the circle, right? And then the next thing, so from the center, basically it's going to have the radius. Well, the radius is 2. So from that center, the radius is 2. So we can think of from here, from the center, let's go 2 over to the left, right? And then if I went 2 over to the right here, and I could go 2 up, right? And I can go 2 down, right? And I can just try to sort of sketch this circle, right? A little sloppy, but you get the idea. And we can see, well, you see that it's definitely far away from the y-axis. Y-axis is over here. It's not touching the y-axis. So n. So if n represents the number of times the circle intersects, m represents the number of times the circle intersects. So m, we could see is 0, right? It's not touching the y-axis at all. But how about the x-axis? Well, it's touching right here in this one place, right? And those are a little sloppy, but it's actually just touching in that one place when it goes down to and it just touches the y-axis. So, and that's basically it, just that one place, right? So n is equal to 1. So we're adding m plus n. So 0 plus 1 is equal to 1. So the answer to this is 1. The answer is definitely 1. Okay, so we did another problem. Okay, that problem is done.